The Prime Cuts of the Omaha Beef Podcast Season 3 is coming soon. Make sure to like and follow us. And we have all things Omaha Beef football coming your way, led by Beef Football #1 fan, Matt Patton.
And we mess up. Technology. And I used the wrong intro. Typical me. Yay, me. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 172 of Inside the Walls podcast, the I-29 Rivalry. I had another intro, but I played the wrong one. We're not going to redo the intros because that's what we do too. I mess up sometimes. No further ado, let's get into our typical stuff to start the show. NAL game day is 39 days away. Live West Banco Arena. Myself, Matt Patton, Jeff will be live on locations with interaction with fans, interviews, giveaways, people getting thrown into the river, and much, much more. Also, follow us on the audio side of the platforms on anything from Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple, Podcast Addict, and of course, we have our ticket way still going on. Go follow us on Facebook, share the post, share a memory. We have up to 13 people already joined on the ticket giveaway. You get 2 tickets to any game of your choosing in the regular season of the National Arena League. Let Inside the Walls podcast lead you to a game. And this is Beefs, Bandits, the Rivalry, Inside the Walls podcast, episode 172. Gents, my partners of crime, Jeff and Matt. How we doing, guys?
Good. Not too bad.
Kind of small. Let's get bigger. There we go.
I mean, I'm doing decent tonight. You know, I'm mildly excited for this episode.
Mildly.
No, I'm excited, man. This is gonna be great.
Well, you're not a fan of either of these teams that we're having on, so
no, yeah.
There's literally no physical evidence of you ever donning an Omaha Beef jersey, trophy, or anything. There's none. Not a single photo. Oh, wait, look, there's one right there.
Wait, who's that guy?
Yeah, there is some evidence. We combined this episode with Sioux City and the bands because we Sioux City and Omaha, we wanted to combine 2 traditional rivalries. 26 years. The rivalry is actually kind of even overall, besides playoff games. We'll talk about that later. But we're going to give you previews of both organizations in the first part of the show, the Omaha Beef, second part of the show, the Sioux City Bandits, and we'll do our over-unders at the very end, capping off the episode. No further ado, Matt, you have the honors of introducing our first guest here on Inside the Walls.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Tonight we're going to have a member of the coaching staff. And in fact, we broke news not this past week, but the week before, about who this person is. Without further ado, he is the new defensive coordinator for our Omaha Beef, Coach Adam Loftus. Coach Loftus, thanks for joining us tonight here on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
It's always fun to have you. Let's switch that to There you go. That's better. That's better. That's a little bit better. No, I'm just kidding. Coach, just, briefly talk about kind of, last June, we had a huge, awesome game. In my opinion, the greatest indoor football game ever played. I might be a little biased, but just talk a little bit about, from a coaching standpoint, like, that game gets over with and we obviously pull out the victory. What was going through your mind on that last drive and that last play?
Well, I thought we had Sioux City on the ropes earlier in the game, and I thought we kind of had it in the bag, and then we kind of let our foot off the gas, and then it ended up getting to overtime. Once we got to those overtimes, we kind of put our business faces back on, and it was like, all right, let's take care of business. First overtime, tied again. Second overtime, I was with Coach Gore, and we hit that extra point to seal it. And I think we both were just like, finally, we're just like, finally put it down. But it was good. Like I said, we thought we had it wrapped up earlier, so it was just finally good to put that final nail in the coffin and then go celebrate.
Yeah, and I know I've talked to Coach Tatum about this. I think we may have talked about it briefly, just the two of us, but how they called back that touchdown that Tommy had when he dove into the end zone, I still to this day don't know how they didn't call that a touchdown. But that's not what we're here for. That's neither here nor there. But either way, hopefully they'll get that issue fixed this season and whatnot. But moving forward, so you guys went into the off season. Have you had time to actually take it in and celebrate the fact that you're now a back-to-back coach of championship teams?
Yes, for maybe a week. And then it's I also coach high school football, so it was rolling into the high school season. And then during high school season, we kind of start, looking at tape and recruiting. And so it's it's awesome and exciting, but then now it's on to the season again. Expectations are still high. It's three-peat or bust. So, I mean, not that there's more pressure. That's just our expectations in Omaha now is championship or bust. So enjoy the win, but then it's back to work and get ready for another season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know the mentality of you and the other coaches obviously are, that you guys want to instill winning in any of these, in all of these players. So, talk about, if you will, just really quick. I promise I'm going to let the other guys ask you a question, but one of the things that I'm excited about as a fan and as a guy who covers this team is the potential for this defensive line that we have coming in for 2025. So we had Jay Sean on Prime Cuts on Tuesday. We know that Cam's going to be behind them, and then we've got a couple other cool guys coming in. So go ahead and give us a little talk about that D line.
So yeah, Jay Sean played with us 2 years ago, and helped win our championship in 2023. Super athletic, dynamic player, can do a lot of things that I ask him to. And then we got Rock as well at the other end. So once again, super athletic, can do a lot of different things. And then we have Cam behind him. Cam won 2 championships. So between those 3 guys, they got 4 rings. So it's a lot of potential. The other pieces of the defense are going to be good too. But that's a good, solid place to start, is 2 good, solid D ends and a good middle backer.
Jeff?
Yeah. So I'm a little biased here, but you lost a extremely good piece of your defensive backfield in Fred Hargrove. What was that like, looking at that and seeing him go else places? Yeah, Matt, you're welcome. What was that like, seeing him? We talked about it a bunch of times, of arena football being 1-year contracts, and that thing happens. Where they play with you for the previous season, the next season they go somewhere else.
Yeah. So like I said, you finish one season, you get to celebrate for a little bit, and then all of a sudden you're like, shoot, got to see what pieces are coming back. And then it's filling in holes, filling gaps, looking at film. I think one of the biggest challenges, especially recruiting rookies and stuff that don't have indoor experiences, you're looking at their outdoor game. And I mean, football's football to a point, but does their skill set outdoor translate to what we're trying to do indoor, because game's a little faster, ball gets out quicker. Defense, there's all sorts of, there's weird rules, 2 men in motion. Guys in the outdoor aren't used to that high motion and stuff. So it's challenging. And whenever you lose anyone that was on your team the previous year, it's all right, well, how can we fill that spot, and how can we, continue to make our team better?
That's one of the things, like with you guys being on the run that you are, a lot of teams, once the season is over, is like, hey, I want to go get that guy because he knows how to win, he knows how to do things. So, I mean, it's got to be a problem for you guys to try to bring those guys back, because they're wanting to go. Other teams are trying to swoop them up.
Definitely. 2 years ago, I thought we had one of the most talented. I was just coaching defensive backs at the time, but I thought we had one of the most talented secondary groups coming into camp, and it got time after camp to start cutting people, and it was hard because I was like, shoot, I don't know who it was. Coach Kaiser was our head coach at the time, and he was the defensive coordinator, and he was asking me, and I'm like, I don't know, man, they're all good. And I think almost everyone we cut got picked up within a week. So so you're just like, well, great. Now I got to play against that guy.
Yeah. Now he knows our defense.
Yeah. So, that's the tricky thing too. You can't you don't want to install too much, but you don't want to install too little. So then by the time you get to the game, you're like, shoot, I wish I had this defense in or had this coverage in, and now I can't. So what do I do? So yeah, it's a fine line of install what do I want to install, make sure guys know what I want them to know, and then we have a flexibility depending upon what type of offense and what game situations arise.
Well, I know you're probably not looking at the chat, but Ricky is chiming in, especially with our normal Ricky versus Coach Rez in the chat. But one thing I've noticed covering the Omaha Beef this offseason is a lot of guys are coming back from that championship team. Key guys, I could say stars of the indoor game. How crucial was it to get some of those dudes back to wear the orange and black this year?
Well, like I said, whenever anyone leaves, it's like, shoot, how do we fill that one? Especially, we did just go back to back, so we know what potential was there. But yeah, some of those keys guys coming back, it's like, so when we signed Rock and Jay Sean, I'm like, okay, cool, I don't have to worry about that. So it takes a little bit off, and then you're just like, all right, so now, and then the wheels start turning about, what I can do with them and what potential they have. And then, so TJ, Juice is coming back. He's one of our corners. So he was a rookie last year, had shown pretty bright and did really well, super coachable. So he's coming back. Always good to see, someone that's coachable coming back. But yeah, it's one of those things that you kind of breathe a sigh of relief and you're like, okay, because bird in the hand, right? If you know what you have coming back, you don't have to try to go through camp and try to find those extra pieces.
This is a question for you, Coach, because you work for both entities. Who's the best rivalry, Beef Bandits or Ricky versus Rez?
I'm just going to stay out of any of that.
We're going to plead the fifth on that one for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. So, Coach, I mentioned in the opening that you were just recently named defensive coordinator. I know you've been around this team for a really long time. I think we were talking this is going to be your 8th or 9th season.
I think 8th. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Okay. And so you've always coached. It's been forever. So yeah, we just forget, right? But you've coached defensive backs pretty much the entire time you've been here. But what what can we expect to see from you as a defensive coordinator and from your obviously without giving out X's and O's and things like that, but what can we expect as fans to see from your defense this year?
I could be super vague and just say a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but I was very fortunate to learn under some really good coaches. Coach James Kerwin is who I first started under back in, so I just volunteered. I was back in like 2011, 2012, and then part of 2013. And then when he brought me back, I lived in Alabama for a while, and then I came back, and he saw I was back, so he brought me back. And then I got to work under Marvin Jones, who's now with the Tulsa Oilers. So I got to learn from him. He was the one, so he kind of named me co-defensive coordinator when he was here. And to have someone like him, like literally before, well, it's 2020, but literally before our preseason game in 2020, he literally just said like, yeah, you'll be on the field tonight. And I was like, haha, funny. And he's like, no, seriously, you're going to call the defense tonight. So like to have that vote of confidence was pretty cool. And then I stayed on the field for the next couple seasons. And then I got to learn under Coach Kaiser too. So he brought some more like IFL type ideas and stuff in. And that was when we were still the last year of the CIF. So got to learn under three really good guys. So kind of mixing and matching stuff I learned from each one of them. So it's kind of hard. I just want to get athleticism on the field, and I want guys to play fast. I like to keep stuff as simple as I can so guys can play fast. Because, I mean, if you're an athlete and I get you thinking too much, like it's just going to slow you down. I want you to play fast. So keep it simple and play quick.
So you mentioned how Coach Jones was like, hey, you're going out on the field. You were like, yeah, right. That was kind of the kind of guy he was, wasn't he?
Oh, for sure.
Like he would rib anybody and make you feel like the smallest person and then just laugh his head off about it. Like it was hysterical.
Yeah. No, it was literally, I think it was like, we literally finished pregame. We're in the coach's office, just grabbing our stuff, getting ready to walk down the tunnel. And he's just like, yeah, man, you'll be on the field tonight. And I was like, okay, sure. He's like, no, seriously, you're going to be on the field. So little bit of a shock, kind of fun, a little nervous, not sure what to expect, but we won the preseason game and then the whole world shut down like the next week. So,
yep.
Yeah. Now you mentioned three coaches, and one of them is a legend in the sport, especially the college realm. If you were a coach and you were recruiting or trying to sign those three coaches you mentored under, who will you pick as your number one pick?
Oh God, you're killing me. That's tough because like each one, like I said, each one I learned a little bit different from. Kerwin kind of, gave me my shot as to like just volunteer and learn. And then Coach Jones gave me my shot as far as like, dude, go call the defense. You're on the field. So I don't know. And then Kaiser came in and I learned a bunch of new stuff from him as well. So I couldn't pick. I'd just say all of them because all three were great coaches and all three had success. And I'd be like, listen, this is like the lineage I was under. So like, do you want one coach? It's just like, you look at back in the 90s, it was like the Husker coaching tree and like everyone was pulling coaches out of Nebraska. And then lately it was everyone's pulling coaches out of the Saban tree. And so it's just, that's the lineage I come from. I came from three great defensive coaches.
That's good. And the other question is, there's a certain days that have been since the Beef have suffered a defeat. Do you know the actual number of that number since the last day?
Like 950 something. I
don't. Matt does, but
no,
it's 950.
There you go. So I'll let him count. I'll just coach.
He doesn't do a podcast or anything to show.
That's about what I thought the answer would be.
Jeff.
So, we've talked about it a little bit, but what's it like, going into a rivalry game like that with Sioux City? Like with you being the defensive coordinator, you have to have that attitude. You guys have to set the tone. Is there a little more something in that game for you?
Yes and no. It's because the run we've been on and the way I take stuff 1 week at a time. Because if indoor, like you have one slip up and all of a sudden, 2 scores get away from you and then you're in a hole. So as a defensive coach, I just want to set the tone, period, every game. I'd rather get up and set the tone. I don't want to mess with, battles back and forth if I can help it. It is, I mean, when we play up there, it's a rough environment. It's tough. I think it's especially tough on like my backer when there's no hash marks and you can't quite see, like what's 5 yards, and then is that 5 yards? And then we check with one official and he says okay, and then another official throws a flag on it. So it's like, all right, well, you can't, like it's a judgment call. So like that's rough. So legal defense frustrates me up there. But then when they come down here, we got the slaughterhouse and it's super loud and hard to play in as well. So it's one of those things, and it just seems like every time we play them, it's a battle, which is fun. I mean, I enjoy good football. Blowouts are fun, but I mean, when you go neck and neck and when you need a stop and you get a stop and, then the offense gets to the field, it's like football is just a fun game of momentum, and I enjoy those battles too. So blowouts are fun, but winning those close games are also really fun and exciting.
So apparently there's a surprise for you in the chat. So.
Oh, there we go. Appreciate it, Ricky.
So there you go. Now you can drop down by the office and pick up your ring or get it when camp starts, whatever. So, let's talk about that. We got, you guys just had the player tryouts last week. I was there. I thought it went pretty well. Just talk a little bit about that and kind of why that's important for you guys right before camp.
So a lot of people view tryouts as kind of like, publicity stuff when, season's coming up, get our name out there a little more and stuff. But we do, like, we take a hard look at whoever shows up. Last year we signed Moose was one of our best receivers last year, and he came from a tryout. And he was one of our best receivers. So it's something we take very seriously. We had a good turnout. We had some talent this year show up for it. So put the guys through a couple tests, did some one-on-one indie drills first. Then we did some one-on-ones. Then we kind of ran some combo routes at guys to see what receivers could do, quarterbacks, and see how defensive backs could react and stuff like that. So it was good. I left happy. It was a little late. I was pretty tired at the end of it, but that's all right.
Yeah, but it worked out. It was good for sure. So you guys are getting ready to start camp. So talk about that. When do the guys get to town? When does camp start? And what are you most excited about?
Well, one, I'm just ready for the season. It feels like we've been, recruiting and prepping and kind of getting our ducks all in a row. So now I'm ready to. I enjoy just coaching the most. So I'm excited to get to that part. Guys report, and Ricky, you can jump in the chat if I get these dates wrong, but I'm pretty sure guys report on the 18th of February. I think we're going to have team meeting and orientation and stuff on the 19th. And then I'm pretty sure camp starts the 20th. And then it's not that many practices because our opening game's on March 2nd. And then, so we play on Sunday and then play again in Shreveport on Saturday. So it's like pretty rapid fire. But like I said, I'm excited to get guys in. Some guys we've held, some like team Zoom meetings just so we can kind of see faces and everything, but it's another thing to see them, face to face. So see them face to face, see if what we saw on film for those new guys, can translate to the indoor game and see what we got. And then, get to our preseason game, give guys a shot. And preseason game, we take some of those borderline guys and we actually see what they can do, under the lights. See, when you're breaking on a ball towards the out of bounds and there's all of a sudden a wall there, not, just an out of bounds line, who reacts and stuff.
Well, Coach, I want to say thank you for coming on this segment of Omaha, but I'm going to ask you one final question before we go to our break and we bring in Sioux City for the second half. Besides the rivalry, the schedule came out. We have the schedule up here. We brought it. This is courtesy of the Omaha Beef, a great graphics team over there. The schedule, Beaumont. You go on the road to Beaumont to kick it off. You have the preseason game beforehand. Any game stands out to you besides Sioux City?
No, like I said, 1 week at a time. I won't look. I don't look towards the end. It's preseason game first, and then we'll get ready for the next one on Saturday. But my goal, like I said, is just to get those guys coached up and then see what we can unleash on that preseason game and then go from there.
All right. Well, Coach, appreciate it. Hopefully you have a good camp because that's fast approaching. Then the season will be here in the blink of an eye. It's going to be postseason football. That's how fast the indoor game is. Appreciate you coming on. And to the Omaha Beef fans who are listening here, get your tickets now. Season tickets are available now. Go blow up Ricky's phone. It's not blowing up right now. Keep blowing it up because he needs this ticket sales. Why not? Just make him work more. Anyways, after this, we'll be back with the Sioux City segment of this portion of Inside the Walls. We'll be back after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and the screen is all messed up. I'm in the wrong spot in the own show, but hey, what's up? How we doing? Jeff, you'll have the honors of introducing our next guy. He's feisty. He's also a defensive coordinator on the other side of the I-29 rivalry, pretty much further north in Omaha. Bring in our guest for the second part of our show.
So it's not often that you get two defensive coordinators that try to outduel each other all the time. So that's awesome to get them on the show. But defensive coordinator from the Sioux City Bandits, Coach Lowe.
How we doing there, fellas? How we doing there? How we doing?
Good.
Doing good, Coach. Thank you for coming on such a short notice. But appreciate you that you're on. First off, how's off season treating you?
Off season. I never really get off season. I practically coach year round. I got a youth football program, obviously, but I do tackle with them, and I'm in the thick of 7-on-7 with them now. So there's no true off season. I probably get about a month where there's no footballs around, but I do have 3 daughters running around, so no off season.
Well,
yeah.
If it's no off season, it's not really the indoor game because it's never an off season. When people say, "Oh, I take a couple months off," yeah, you don't work in this business.
No, yeah, we don't get no days off around here.
But before we get into talking about the Sioux City Bandits, we did have the member of the Omaha Beef, a little, again, rivalry stakes. That's the biggest matchup, the longest reigning rivalry in the sport of indoor and arena football currently. You've had the opportunity to be on one side of it for quite a while for you since Sioux City. What was the rivalry mean to you between the Bandits and the Beef?
You like Matt, how you doing, Matt?
I'm good. How are you, Coach Lowe? I'm not ignoring you. I'm just letting these guys talk.
Honestly, it's a great thing that we're still able to play it. There was some time when the two teams didn't match up. That was kind of weird. I've been here since 2008, and as long as I can remember, I remember seeing that rival, and when I became a part of it in 2012, right away, we didn't get to play them. And I think 2013, things changed. And man, I obviously everybody has a rival in college or high school or whatever that is. It's intense, very intense when you play Omaha, and I'm pretty sure they would say the same thing, but it never works out to where you play them 10 times. You only play them once or twice, you maybe 3 times. So, depends on when you play them. It's intense, but you got to get there before, week 5, week 6. It's always weird when you play them. It's like, geez, what's on the line now? Like, it's never like I would like to play them first and just get it over with and just see what happens. But all in all, we don't make the schedule, and we just kind of wherever they fall, and you just kind of say, man, okay, we got Omaha this week. A couple times we had them back to back, and it's like, why do that? But whatever, So it's a real intense rivalry. I can tell you, the colors are very, very, much, my high school colors. So it's hard for me to dislike that color, but that week I don't like that color.
Fair enough. I don't wear red, so
Hey, it's okay. It's okay.
So not a fan of the cowbell.
Actually, I have one downstairs. I prepare myself pretty well. I have one downstairs. When we do play those guys, we have to, add a little incentive during practice, make some more noise, do whatever we have to do. But the cowbells, you kind of get used to them after, I guess, 13 years, and getting to do it 12 years, you'll get used to them. There's really no getting used to them. You just have to learn to adapt to those damn things. Those things are wild, but they work.
You just say what ever after someone says something to you because of the ring in the ear. You're like, what?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
And for like 2 days after that too.
No, yeah, it's intense. I remember one year I found like on YouTube like just a cowbell and the moo in between it, and I would just play it during practice. Moo cow, moo. Just to get annoying like those cowbells.
Well, you see that in the college football. A lot of teams play their rivals' fight song constantly during practice during rivalry week. Like I see Michigan being played in Ohio State game practices, and Florida State's music being played in Florida practices. It builds up the anticipation of that game against your rival. But let's push the rivalry aside and let's talk about Sioux City. First off, Coach, how many more guys are you going to bring back? It seems like you brought the whole entire roster back from last year, and just seems like it. When they put the colors on, they don't leave. What's the deal in Sioux? Why is everyone coming back to Sioux City this year?
Well, I mean, I can credit just the group that we had. That was a real good group, and a lot of those guys just talked about obviously the feeling of losing the championship game, but just in general what it meant to be around each other, and the coaching group, working with those guys on and off the field. A lot of us, we've been together, 13 years. Not many coaching staffs can say that they've been together as long as we have. So for us, it's more like the guys get to see us as coaches, and they get a group of guys that they're with, and they're like, dang, that's pretty cool. And obviously the community embraces them. And we as coaches, we don't try to put, football expectations on them. Obviously that's why they're here, but we, obviously try to live what life goes with them and try to work with them in that avenue of life to let them understand that, like, dude, like football's football. It's great. We're here. We're in a great community. We've been around. We're going to win some ball games. We're going to lose some tough ones. And the reality is how can we help you, long term? And a lot of those things just happen when you have a guy like Irv that's been in Sioux City. I don't want to tell his age, but he's been in Sioux City his whole life. Everywhere you go, you pull up and everyone knows Irv, and I've been attached to his hip for 13 years. So guys that come in that's been here for 1 year and they're like, dude, you guys been together for 13 years plus. I was talking to Tony Payne, our equipment guy, and basically the guy who started the Bandits, essentially, in my opinion. He's said he's been at this for 27 years with us. I know we've been around for 25, but the part that he had to do to help get here been 27 years. So that guy's been here since day one. A lot of these guys are like, oh, that's consistency there, and I can tell you, we don't miss certain things. We don't do too much, but we do exactly what we need to do to make sure these guys can, be comfortable, but at the same time understand that they have a job to do while they're here. And if you can get a job while you're here and make a long-term goal out of it, we'll help support that as well.
Hey, Coach Rez had a very, very good question. He says, walking away from the championship game and reflecting, how much of that is feeling fueled your 2025 preparation?
Dude, great question, Coach Rez. I mean, sitting there and first off, congratulations to Omaha. And of course, I talked to Mike today. I talked to Mike a lot. I talked to Coach Tyler previously, just this offseason. I've talked to even Adam, Coach Loftus. Haven't talked to him, since the championship game, but even guys like Ricky, like those guys bust their ass to get what they did. It's very hard to, win the way they did. And it was very hard for us to climb back. And it had to end that way in dramatic fashion. But just to walk away and see, that this was like a moment to realize, like, dude, like we were that close, and, realize how much more work you have to do. And it started that day, realizing that this team was special. And if you can get them back, your chances of getting back to that stage is high, but you still have to do the work, and understanding, the goal is never not to win a championship. And I think Sioux City tries to put that, talent-wise on the field all the time, and with consistent coaching and with consistent players doing what they're supposed to do on and off the field, I think you'll have a good chance. So my field is just basically showing up to work, and every day knowing that I got a chance to play in June with the crew that we have. And if we don't have the right crew, I'm pretty sure we'll figure it out, because that's just what we have to do. So we're built a little different. We do things a little different, but we've also been around for a long time. So we kind of got a way of doing things. And I was just counting the other day. I'm like, dude, I played in 2 championships, and I've not played in 3 championships, and I've coached in 2 of them. I haven't won one as a coach. I've won 2 as a player, and, lost 1 as a player. You kind of don't want to say you're expecting to get there, but 5 out of 13 years, you kind of like, dude, I know what it takes to get there. I just got to get the right group to believe and finish. And so this year, my goal is to obviously start March 1, be tenacious and understand that we got a job to do, especially defensively and special teams wise. Like, 47-46, that'll put you in a blender every time. We didn't lose 55-8. We had an opportunity to win that game. So just remind myself every day, dude, show up to work and get it done.
So you talk about some of those players, getting them in the right places and getting, these guys in that want to be there. Talk a little bit about, you guys have a, and there's some names right there. You guys have a first round draft pick there in Sioux City, about, Justin Gilbert. Talk about that a little bit, about him coming in and having that caliber of NFL player being in your defensive backfield.
Justin's a very, very, very good. He's a good person on and off the field. I know his story may misconstrue him, but at the end of the day, him and I have a great relationship. So good sometimes he reminds me of an ingrown toenail. So if we can keep him healthy, we can do some magical things with him. But he's also the type of guy that's not very vocal, so he's not going to, say much about anything. He's just going to kind of show up to play. And if he's, like I said, if he's fully healthy, I think he's one of the best players around. And to have guys, like Bruno, very similar, not vocal, but Bruno's going to show up to party. Prohaska, not very vocal, show up to party. You got a guy like Verlon that's leading the team. He's pretty much vocal, but we kind of got a real close, quiet group. And when they start to giggle and laugh in the back, you're like, what the hell are they doing back there? Like, that's something's wrong with it, but to have some of the guys we have, and, have a guy like Devin, he's very vocal. He'll speak for the team. He'll remind me and Irv. He'll text me and Irv. He'll call me and Irv and say, hey, this isn't right. And we're like, dude, you're not the superstar, but he's the super voice for the team. So, to have those guys, we're crazy. Like, dude, we'd be crazy not to keep bringing them back if they're still healthy and they're ready to play. We love having those guys back. But like I said, Justin's a good dude. He don't really brag about his NFL experience, and in his opinion, it wasn't the best. And as of right now, he hasn't had the best, 2 years with us. But we've saw certain things. We're like, dude, we know he can do it. He just got to keep him healthy and keep his mind right and keep everybody around him positive. And I think we should be all right with him.
Well,
I actually have a question.
Oh, Matt, here we go.
I actually have a question. Sorry, Jim, I didn't mean to cut you off. Coach Lowe again.
Well, you
tonight.
take control.
I didn't mean to cut him off, but I was sitting here going, I got to ask this question. So last season, we saw a guy who was a longtime member of the Omaha Beef come over and play in your secondary in we call him CP3 in these parts. But just talk a little bit about the impact that Chris Perry made on your defense and his, what you expect from him in 2025.
Man, Chris, listen, let me tell you a secret. I played against Chris, so that'll tell you how old Chris is. we're around the same age, but Chris was and still was one of my favorite, guys. I'm a relational type guy, so always would have a relationship with Chris, even during the heated moments we would argue with, certain players or whatever it was. Chris would always come over and, hey, what's up, Lo? Whatever the case may be. Chris is just a stand-up guy. I told him personally last year, at the end of the championship game, what he meant to me was, his value in the secondary is unmatched. Like, the guy came in right away, I had no clue if he could figure out the way I wanted him to play. He came in and played exactly the way I wanted him to play. He was vocal. He had a good vibe with everybody, and he understood the defense from day one, which it's not hard to understand defense if you're asked to do your job and you do it. And the other guys around him picked up. And I really noticed when we traveled to Idaho. Actually, I flew in the day of because I had something to do the night before. But I was getting messages how they were traveling and how Chris just adapted with the team and took his leadership. And a couple of those guys, like younger guys, like, dang, this is this guy's first trip with us, and he's amazing. But long story short, Chris is, one of my favorite guys. I love to have him. I think this year he's going to work his way back into number 3. I don't know how he's going to do it just yet, but I think he's going to work his way into number 3. But I did tell him at the end of the, championship game, we hugged, we cried, and the respect I have for him, and I didn't know what his plans were. And I said, hey, if things work out for you, because Sioux City and Omaha is 50 minutes to an hour away. I'm like, if it works out for you to go back home, man, I would never hold it against you, because of that respect that I have for you. And so far, I mean, he's back with us, and I hopefully, he can end his career with us. But I also, understand if, like Chris, if it ever came down to it and it made more sense for you to be here and it worked out for both sides, I would never hold it against you. And I think he hugged me tighter because I know what Omaha means to him as well. But at the same time, he's ready to go with us, and he's wearing the red and black now.
Yeah.
Well, am I good, Matt? Can
you're fine. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Coach, last year, it was disappointing, but it was considered even though you're on the other side of it, it was one of the best indoor games for fans, cinema-wise. But the season of Sioux City was different than typical seasons. The first couple of weeks, you were trying to find yourself. You got solid wins, and you had a little fallbacks with a couple losses. But a certain quarterback came in halfway through the season, and when he came in, the offense became very explosive. And Sturgis was what the coach said last night: boots to asses on everybody in the season until the postseason. And he's a journeyman. Now he's back in Sioux City and Vernon Reed. Having him back, what does that do for Sioux City for 2025?
Gives us a sense of stability, but also Verlon knows his job, is still to come in and compete because, we have another guy coming in that's good, athletic, can play multiple positions. And Verlon is even the type of guy that will play multiple positions. I'll give you an example. This offseason, those guys were playing quote unquote competitive flag, and I was on the team, so that's where the quotes come from. Quote unquote competitive flag. And he'd get out there and be like, let me play receiver, let me play DB. And I'm sitting there, I'm more watching it, like, okay, can he? And he actually can. So having a guy like Verlon, come back and lead our offense, and not just our offense, but our team, and have him understand that his time that was here, you got a longer time now to really put what you want to the table. And I think Verlon, for him also, it's a return to continue to prove what he's done in the past and be consistent and stay focused. and really, hone in on getting a championship, because he's hungry too. That was his first championship game I believe he ever played in. So I watched him take it all in and understand that, like, dude, this is hard. And he was only here for a short period of the time. And now he has a whole season in front of him. Obviously, we want the best for him, and he wants the best for us. And ultimately having him back is, dude, it helps us. It helps us big time. It helps us with, recruits. It helps us in general, knowing you got a guy like him at the helm that can potentially go on a streak and get you to where you need to go.
Well, sometimes you go as far as your quarterback, and if you have that position set, you're going to win a lot of games. You see around the NAL, especially the Willing Miners, they got Grant Russell that's coming back. You see Colorado with Jason Whitaker coming in. Having that quarterback position really helps the offense really adapt early, because usually from any type of sport or whatever level, defense keeps everyone in the game early until the offense catches up. Usually, if you have that guy in the behind center, usually that helps the offense gain some traction early, so the defense doesn't have to do all the work. And you're a defensive coordinator, and you're like, well, I want to make the defense take over the game. Defenses have done that before, but you like to have offense score some points there, Coach.
100%. I would have liked to score 48 points, not 46.
Of course, one thing I like about Sioux City is the fan base. They're a rabid fan base in the Titans Event Center. Tickets are now available. But you guys have had intriguing matchups with Omaha historically. The series is damn close in the regular season at 24-24 all. Postseason is where you get the 3-game advantage in the series. But the two organizations are similar. They're both good working organizations. They work together. They just hate each other for 2 hours in the year, because that's the game days when they play. Last year you played 3 times. But putting the rivalry aside, how's the partnership between you and Omaha have been since you've been coaching and playing? How's that build since to this point in your career?
Dude, phenomenal. Never had any issues with that part. It's just always the in between the whistle part, when you the little tussle here and there, I know Mike Tatum and I, a lot of people don't know this. Mike wore these colors for like 3 weeks, and then this COVID thing hit, and all of a sudden disappeared. Mike was a Bandit first, so don't forget it.
I actually knew that,
but you don't talk about it. You don't talk about it.
You're right. I don't. You're right. I don't. You're right.
But so, I mean, it's always been good, and to have a relationship with guys like Mike, outside of it, it's kind of like when I squeezed him after the championship game, it was like, dude, like, it sucks to suck, but it is what it is. So our relationship's always been good. And like I said, those guys have always treated me well, and we treat them well. And Ricky says the same thing. Loban, Irv, gosh, I freaking hate doing this. It is what it is, but we hug it out, and until next time.
Well, Coach, sources have confirmed that Tatum did play for the Bandits. Because
I got to find a picture from camp. That was a good one. I got to find one and post it on his story.
The source is Tatum. He's actually commented. So he's been up. Well, if you look at Tatum's history, he's a dog.
100%.
He put this sport on the map, indoor
Yeah.
football.
He's a special weapon. Very, very special. Got a little talent, and I still think he can boogie a little bit, but blowing a whistle and yelling is a little better on the knees, I believe.
I think Coach Shane wanted to get away from Matt a little bit. I don't know. Go ahead, Jeff.
Okay, so I got one more question for you. You've talked about being with the Bandits for 15 plus years. You've seen some things change and things like that. What is your opinion on the logo that you guys had years ago and the one you have now, and then adding the gold to the logo as well?
Well, one year we had a raccoon. We had like a raccoon bandit one time. So I try now that I'm coaching, and I've always had some say in what we wear and kind of like what I was always been that player and even coach. To say, hey, this looks good with this look good with that. When we first got the gold, it was kind of like, once again, I don't like the San Francisco 49ers. So it kind of was like, oh, it looks like the 49ers. Oh, it looks like it didn't work because we always had like the gray, like a grayish silverish, and that kind of was like badass to me. But now this gold is more like, what shoes can I wear with that? So as of right now, this logo is very, very, very unique in a stance that like you can wear different things with it. And I'm a fashionista. So if you guys pay attention during the season, I probably won't wear the same pair of shoes. I will change my shoes, but I like the logo a lot. But over the years, I would say I like the logo where it had like bandits and it had like the guy holding the bandits. I like that logo a lot. So I have to go in my closet. I think I got about 15 t-shirts to choose from. So we'll see which one's the best one.
So there's an underlining thing right there. So pay attention to the Bandits and the Miners game, because you're gonna have shoe game on top of shoe game on top of shoe game, because you got Coach Rez that is real big on shoe game, and you also, Coach Lowe just mentioned him as well. But then, you also have Coach Mont, who's up on the shoe game as well. So we're gonna see a lot of.
I don't know. There might be a better coach than me, but I don't know if there's a better shoe wearing coach than me out there. Trust me.
I don't know. It's like, do we need to do shoe game divisions? I swear, because
we might have to. I mean,
well, and what I know about Rez is going to take that challenge.
Absolutely.
Hey, Coach Rez taking the challenge? No.
If you're listening, Coach Rez, good luck.
Wait, let's check. Hold on, let's check the comments.
He hasn't chimed in yet, but knowing him, he will. Yeah, you'll see. Challenge to. Yep.
There he goes. Let's do it. There it
is. Hey, Coach Rez. If I catch you wearing the same shoe, you automatically lost.
This is.
Hey, I was going to say. Maybe that's how we should pick games for NAL game day, not helmets, just shoe game. It's like, hey, this is who we pick for the winner.
Hey, listen, we don't even have to talk about football anymore. We can talk about shoes all night. I got a lineup. I'm ready to go, man.
Oh, that would be Inside the Walls After Dark, talking about shoes.
There you go.
But Coach, again, the season's fast approaching. You just have a tryout camp a couple of weeks ago that is on social media. What's the next steps for the organization? Preseason is going to be here. When's the reporting date? What are the plans from this point on to get ready for the season?
Honestly, I literally just had a phone call with Coach Irv yesterday and today. We call it our nothing time. Really, what are we doing to get everything done? If you're not doing nothing, you better figure it out. This is the time of the year to where Irv and I, like, somehow he ends up in my emergency contact because we talk so much. Like we'll take a good little friendship break and check on each other, but we'll take a good away coaching break. We'll get done in June and we'll do what we do, and we'll reconvene around August and we'll start doing what we do. And now is all right, Irv's getting the units ready at the houses. He's going to meet with Don and Brett and doing what they're doing and following up with the rest of our coaches on any leads out there to make sure we can keep everything going the way it's going. So we're at that point to where, what is it? We report February 21st, and that's 12 days of just work, and then from there you go right back to work that Sunday morning, and you go right back to work. You go back to work. You hit the road. So we're at that point to where everything's got to be buttoned up and ready to go, because before you know it, I literally just text my wife. My wife's a nurse, and God bless her heart. She's working through her schedule through March. I'm like, who gets a schedule through March? She does, but life's good. So I sent her to, the first month. She's like, okay, so my first night shift's going to be on this day. And I'm like, okay, that works. Yeah. So Yeah, it's that time where if you ain't doing nothing, you'll figure it out.
Well, what did they say? Happy wife, happy life, or happy wife, I can go coach football.
Both. I'm very, 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 very thankful for my wife. She's a beautiful lady, and she takes care of this household, but she does allow me to coach, and I think she's like, okay, we'll figure it out. And I try to return the favor. I don't try, I do, but it is what it is. I'm always gone and moving around, ripping around, and she's a saint compared to what I am.
They usually are.
Yeah.
They're the calmer of the two. We're the boneheads.
Yeah, 100%.
Coach, I want to say thank you for coming on to this brief preview of the Sioux City Bandits and a little bit of the rivalry of the history. Where can fans go to get tickets? What website? What phone number to call? This is your chance to sell product.
Obviously, first things first. Coach Reg gets some more shoes because I'm coming. But obviously, go to our website. You can reach out to us on our socials, SiouxCityBandits.com. We have a few different ways to reach out to us. But I mean, obviously, to come back to Tyson, March 1st is going to be a good opportunity for us to get some tune up. I do know we have a quote unquote semi-pro team coming, but they have a pretty good roster. So it'd be an exciting game, and then we'll hit the road and we'll come back in March 14th. We'll do what we do, and hopefully we have that place packed out and have a good opportunity to get some community work and have fun and do what we do, guys. So I enjoyed this opportunity to be with you guys tonight, and we'll keep going. And I'll never forget 47-46.
Yeah, good
47-46. That's something that can motivate a team.
Yes, 100%.
And Coach, good luck with the rest of the season. I look forward to talking with you guys later in the season because most likely we'll come back to Sioux City because there could be some games a week probably that might revolve you in another team. So
you never know. We'll see.
Coach, be well, be safe. Good luck on the 2025 season. And when we come back after this, ladies and gentlemen, we'll do our over-unders for the two organizations and probably troll somebody. But that's what we do here. We're unscripted. That's Coach Slow. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back. I'm not going. That's going to get copyright because of how I said it. That's how it does sometimes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the final segment of our show today. We're doing over-unders. And what I mean by a little bit trolling, we do have some more photos of Matt claiming to be a Omaha Beef fan. But I digress. So I messed up earlier in the episode. To the Omaha Beef fans, thank you for calling me out. I do appreciate it because I did mess up. So here's the accurate schedule for the organization updated. Still, graphics are courtesy of the Omaha Beef. And it's the right schedule this time. Over under. We did this last week. We got the two organizations, Sioux City and Omaha. We look at the schedule. Matt, these are your Omaha Beef. Break down the 2025 schedule.
Yeah, we open up with the Minneapolis Warriors. They're a really good outdoor semi-pro team coming in for that preseason game on March 2nd. And then the schedule makers did us no favors by making us travel to Shreveport to take on the Rougarou week 1. And then we open up at home on the 15th with Colorado. Looking forward to that game, and then home again on the 28th for Idaho. Kind of nice to have that early season where we're traveling a lot and then coming back, and then we get to go take a break and then play Idaho. Then we go down to Beaumont. As you can see, a little tough there. Some of me is like, it's cool to wait that long to play Sioux City. And then the other part of me is like, man, can we just get one of these over with and get it, so we can figure out who's the winner and that kind of thing. But, playing them middle of the season and then, then we go to the Duster or home to the Dusters, and then at Sioux City, and then to the Dusters, and then home for the Rougarou, and end with Colorado. I mean, we've talked on this podcast multiple times about how we feel about Colorado. Sioux City is going to be really, really good this year again. They got 15 of their 16 starters from last year back. And I know that the only reason that they don't have Brandon Mintz back, I believe this is the case, is because I believe he moved across the state. And so he's not in the area anymore, or they would have had all of their starters from last year back. But yeah, just it's going to be a tough schedule, honestly. Like, I just think it's going to be a tough schedule for the Beef, but I have confidence in my guys. So,
all right. I've been thinking long and hard about this schedule. And as I've been doing, I'm not Vegas, but I like to put the over-under. I give Omaha the defending championship boost in the over-unders of this version, so don't get mad at me. I'm setting the over-under for the 2025 Omaha Beef at 8. No, at 7.5. Scratch that 8.5. My bad. My apologies. I got the other team first. 8.5 for the Omaha Beef. Jeff.
I'm gonna say over. I'm gonna say 9. I really think with the championship pedigree that they have, I really think that they Sioux City and them split. I think it's a split, and I'm gonna go crazy on both here, and I'm gonna say that they're gonna split, and the away team's gonna win both those matchups.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
You gotta be non-biased here, man.
I know. I apologize.
Inside the Walls Network.
I apologize, Jeff.
You're good.
This is Inside
But
the Walls.
Yeah. But that's my thought is
say it.
both is it's going to be a split with the Bandits and the Beef, and I think that the away team's going to win both matchups. So,
Matt,
it's very possible. The over under is 8.5. I'm going over all day long. I look at what we have coming back. I know we're losing the league MVP. I'm fully aware of who we're losing and what we're losing, but I also know this coaching staff, and I know what we have this season already that's been announced, and I know what may or may not be coming in, and I am just very, very excited. I agree with Coach there. But I personally, and I know there's other people that like this streak means a lot to me as a fan, and as a host of a podcast. And I just know the guys, and I know the mentality of this team for the last 3 years, especially the last 2 years. And could they split with Sioux City? Sure. I mean, Sioux City is a very talented football team. I'll take nothing away from them. I respect them. But I think it's going to be another great season for the Beef.
so you're taking the over.
Yes, sir.
So 9-1 or 10-0.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Tatum, I see that you're in the chat. What's up? How you doing? Doing good? I'm taking the under. 8-2.
oh,
They will drop one game against Sioux City, but the home teams serve home field advantage on that matter. And I think they get a surprise, overlook. It's not going to be Almirola. Trust me, it's not going to be Almirola. I look at that schedule. I just like Colorado, what they're doing so far. I think one of those Colorado games, especially the one in Colorado, could be the one that gets them. Well, can they go 9-1? Yes. Can they go 10-0? Yes. National division's tough, especially with Sioux City, Omaha, Colorado, and you see, I'm just being I'm gonna be realist. 8-2 still a damn good season. I'm just saying. How long does the undefeated streak go? And yes, I'm notorious to be on highlight films because of my predictions. Thank you. You're welcome, Albany. I basically kept your franchise alive. But anyways, I digress. Okay, we've already talked about that. Let's go to the Sioux City Bandits. You can roast me, Coach Tatum. You can save this, and when you come on the show later, you can still troll me. All love and respect, man. Um, send me a DM, whatever. Here's the updated schedule for the 2025 Sioux City Bandits. Jeff, you break down this schedule.
So, little different. I mean, it's crazy to see everybody with those preseason games. I'm sorry, it's a little different for me to see. But starting away is definitely going to be hard for them, and then being able to come back home for 2, and then having to go out to Omaha, that's going to be different. And then seeing Beaumont again at home, the trip to Idaho a little different, and then that's going to be a crazy thing of they go away, home, and then away. So they do every other week they're either home or away. So it's going to be a difficult. That's going to be, I think, the bottom half of their schedule is definitely where they're going to hit some strides. And when they get to that Dusters game, I think that's going to be a thing of, okay, I'm glad we went through that to get the year.
And the schedule, I've already leaked it out before because I misread my own writing. I can't read my own writing, people. It happens. I digress. I had set their schedule at 7.5. I gave Omaha that 1 game boost because they're the defending champions. Matt, we'll start with you because you are the resident Sioux City Bandit fan here on the podcast. 7.5 for the Bandits for the 2025 season. What is your prediction, sir?
I'm going to go the over. I'm going to go Sioux City at 8 wins. Very much similar to what you said before. I could see a scenario where they get tripped up somewhere that maybe we weren't expecting.
Probably that away game on May 17th in a little city in West Virginia. Probably, because that could be an area too. I'm actually looking forward to that game. Circle that game. I think that's going to be a very intense game when it gets to West Virginia for the winning matchup. Jeff, what's your opinion about that 7.5 for the Sioux City Bandits?
I'm gonna push. I'm gonna say. I know it's the half's going to be thrown off there, but I think they could very easily be 7-3, 8-2. I think there's a game towards the end of their schedule that's going to kind of teeter, and I think it's going to be the Colorado game. I think that's going to be a game that really is going to go either way for them.
Mm-hmm.
They could get to 8-2, or they could see 7-3. I just feel really bad for Amarillo getting them off of that stretch there of those 3 games, because no matter the outcome, they're either going to be riding an extreme wave of highness, or they're going to be in an extreme low and just angry and just want to beat the heck out of whoever they have. And unfortunately, it's Amarillo. So I hate to be Amarillo, in that last part of the season, because they could be in a spot where they don't really control their destiny with somebody that could get them a playoff spot.
Good point. I'm going to say this statement. We have covered most of the teams in the National Division on the breakdown. I'm going to make this statement. We've already covered the teams that I believe will be in the National Division Championship game. Is it this show? Is it with Colorado or Idaho? I'm just saying we covered the teams that I believe are in. I have the over/under for Sioux City at 7.5. I think they are going to be, like you said, Jeff, push. I think 7-3. 7-3, 8-2. I see they're either I've already mentioned that they're going to split against Omaha. Mm-hmm. Home and home. Colorado's the other team that they can, stub a toe. But if we think how Sioux City is with their experience, and if they go out of the gate pushing like they did last year and finish, they can finish 8-2. There's a very good chance that we're seeing Sioux City and Omaha in the National Division Championship game. Mm-hmm. Very good chance. I say 7-3, 8-2. The worst at worst 7-3, best 8-2. I think they're a well-coached team. A lot of experience coming back. I think one of the best receivers in the game plays for them. The ageless wonder is there in Fred Bruno. I just think they're going to be a very good team, and they're very well coached every single year. They're very competitive. They make the playoffs almost every single year in their existence. Same as Omaha. Like it's literally it's like you're born, you pay taxes, and both Sioux City and Omaha make the playoffs, and then you pass away. That's life. That's the history of that rivalry, and I think that's going to be this year for the Sioux City Bandits. 7-3 at worst, 8-2 best. If you guys go back to the Colorado preview, you'll notice something in my predictions. There's kind of a tie, as you can say, but you'll figure it out. Go back to the previous episodes. You understand where I'm getting at. But gents, a little extended episode. Got to break down Omaha, break down Sioux City. And to the people who are joining and listening, and you want to get free tickets to any NAL game, go to our Facebook page and find the post. It should be the pinned post. Share it, like it, put a memory, put a photo of you enjoying the game. You'll win 2 tickets to your game of choosing, any game of your choosing in the regular season, courtesy of the Inside the Walls podcast. We'll give you your chance to go experience the game itself. And of course, NL Game Day kicks off March 10th, 2025, West Banco Arena. We're thinking around 5-ish is when we go live. It gives time for Jeff to get up to the nosebleeds of the press box while me and Matt are just getting Coca-Cola wasted in the in the seats while Jeff has to work.
Say I actually have to work that day,
Just saying, I'm not rubbing it in there. I'm not rubbing it in. Right now, what we can say about NAL Game Day is it's if you watch College Game Day or what's Fox calls there, Fox Noon Kickoff.
Big Noon Kickoff.
Big Noon Kickoff. They do the previews. They talk about the games. They interview a couple of players. We'll talk about the game. We have special guests that will join, some big individuals in the region who are well known. And once you hear the names, you will know who they are. That's as much as we can tell right now. Then we'll have some activities, ticket giveaways, shirts giveaways. So if you're in Wheeling, West Virginia, and you haven't gotten into the game yet, 5 o'clock autograph session. Autograph session, big time guest. There's something in common in there. NAL Game Day is going to be there as well. So get your tickets now. Okay, Matt, you're doing something on the typer. What are you doing? Investigating. What are you doing? Buying tickets?
No, I'm good.
You're not buying tickets in NAL Game Day.
No, I don't think I need tickets, but maybe I do. I don't know. We'll see.
Just saying. But no further ado, guys. Jeff, any final words for this episode?
No, I fully expected a little bit of overtime in this episode. I mean, what do you expect? I mean, they went to 3 overtimes last time, so I mean, I fully expected to go a little bit over. But it was nice to hear from both coaches, and you can definitely tell the passion that both coaches have for their respective teams and the respect that they have for each other as well in the rivalry. And it's a great thing. I mean, it's one of those things that you want to keep going. You want to fuel the fire year in and year out because that's what pushes the sport. I mean, we want to get other teams like that. Like I hope I'm sitting here, 20, 25 years from now talking about the Wheeling and Carolina rivalry like we talk about the Sioux City and Omaha rivalry. Like it's just one of those things that you want to mimic and you want to get there, and it's just and Matt, it's something to be proud of, man, to be part of an organization that has a rivalry like that, a dancing partner with Sioux City. So, as much as you guys love to banter back and forth, I love the fact that the coaches even, respect you in that regards and talk to you about it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also,
go ahead. Sorry, Jim.
No, I was going to say, I was just also on top of that, to any of the coaches that are watching the show, that means everyone in the National Arena League, you all have assignments dedicated, and you guys send it to me on Inside the Walls. Now we're going to do shoe rankings on styles each and every week. Hey, we got people doing rankings of players. Well, let's do rankings. Let's do something different. Let's do shoe game.
We already did something different with our tier ranking, but no. But
No, that'd be right. We got to do our tier ranking before the season starts, and we can just add the shoes of the coaches.
Yeah.
Just an idea there, Matt. Sorry that I cut you off. I know you
No,
want
it's
me off
okay.
the show, but okay.
No, it's okay. I was just going to give my final statement of that this was a really fun episode for me. Like Jeff said, as much as we, 2 weeks out of the season, absolutely despise each other, I have nothing but respect for the Sioux City Bandits and that organization and Coach Irv and Coach Lowe and those guys there. And just the way that they are able to, I've watched their fan base and how it's grown over the last 10 years, and it's just been incredible to see that and whatnot. Just I'm excited for the season. Like, I know Ricky would hate me for saying this, but like, I wish the season started tomorrow.
Oh yeah, he'll definitely hate you for that.
Yeah, for sure.
No, like, geez, if the season started tomorrow,
yeah.
Well, I'm not going to get in that conversation. It's off-air topic right there. If the season started tomorrow, I'm just saying.
That's a chat conversation.
Yeah, I don't want my phone to start blowing up. It's like, why are you saying that? No, yeah, I understand the logistics of everything, ladies and gentlemen.
Me too.
But with that, ladies and gentlemen, the season is fast approaching. Get your season tickets now. Please contact your local or your your nearby NAL organization. Get your season tickets or regular tickets. Go see if there's any events. I know a lot of these players and a lot of these organizations are in the community. Go to these community events. They're doing a lot of hard work. Go to a game. They're actually pretty exciting. And if you come to Willing, you might actually see 2 white dudes get thrown into the Ohio River.
Just one.
Probably me. Yeah, probably me. Yeah, it's going to be disappointing. But anyways, and in the episode on a high note here, next week we'll have a special guest joining our show. We will make that announcement on Tuesday next week for Thursday's episode. And then in 2 weeks, we will get back into coverage of Breakdown, and we'll combine another rivalry of sorts like we did this one in 2 weeks from this episode. So we're in February. We will be breaking down hopefully a rivalry of sorts, but they have history. And it's going to be the Columbus Lions and the Carolina Cobras. Bringing back the original NAL rivalry when they were together in 2018. And then we'll wrap up the season with Willing towards the end. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 172. The chat is popping. We got over 60 people watching. Thank you for the love and respect watching us over the last couple of years. This is a production of Inside the Walls Network. We had made a statement publicly today about some miscommunications, and we just want to make sure that our job here is to keep it as professional as possible. As we lead forward to 2025, some good announcements are coming in the horizon. Some big announcements are coming in the horizon for the network and its associate shows. Keep track on everything at nwallsnet.com or on our social media platforms. Follow us on NWallsPod on everything. And remember, go get your tickets now. If not, you can donate to my fund, and I'll go buy the tickets for you and direct you to the games that you want to go to. Or I tell you where you go to. Anyways. We're ending the show now, all right? I'm bantering on. Let's go, people. With that, ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 172. That is Matt. That is Jeff. And I am Jim. We'll see you guys next week. Keep an eye on the podcast platforms for our special guest announcement for next week's episode. We'll see you next week. Be safe, be well, and pray for the ones who were tragically lost this past weekend in D.C. For that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next week.